Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. I'm really excited about today's guest, Michael Botts. He's real, raw, authentic. He's going to talk about empowering individuals to embrace that falling down is allowed, but getting up is required. And I love this talk about just motivation, inspiration, leadership. He's got the whole 9 yards, and I'm excited to welcome him to the show. So, Michael, welcome.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to be here. We're going to have a lot of fun today.
Yeah, tell people your story, how you got started, and we'll dive into it.
Sure. I was a college athlete. I was in the Marine Corps. As a college athlete, I played in a national championship. So I had a silver spoon in my mouth. In the Marine Corps, I was a presidential guard. So a boom, again, something unique. And I was selected for that from, all the guys in the Marine Corps. Then I have 4 beautiful, amazing kids. They're all, successful and everything. But in the midst of that, I started a business. And man, all that silver spoon, it melted in my mouth and burned my tongue and my throat and my stomach, because owning that business, man, I had so much failure and so much abuse about failure. And failure kind of had its boot on the back of my neck and my face down in disappointment and depression. And I had a big evolution through that failure. It really showed me that on our DNA is falling down is allowed and getting up is required. And I can prove that to you because each of us learned to walk, talk, and eat with no worry about falling down. We had no worry about it. We had spaghetti all over our face. We were gibbering and jabbering. We were falling and we were failing at walking, but we never worried about, if mom and dad were walking. We didn't worry if big brother was walking. We had no care about that. We didn't stay awake at night like, no, mom, no milk for me tonight because I didn't walk today and I'm so stressed. Everybody else is walking and succeeding at walking and I'm not. None of that dawned on us. We were just focused on getting up again. Getting up is required. And then about 3rd grade, we get caught in the riptide of life and sucked out into the ocean of am I enough? Before that, we were just born, I am enough. And in am I enough, we try to do the rest of our lives. And my whole goal, my whole purpose on the planet is start to reveal the I am enough that's in everybody that they were born with. So that's kind of where that failure and that abuse that I took from failure was my fault, because I had made failure the villain as opposed to making it the teacher. And that's really the switch that turned my life inside out.
Yeah, I love that. It's not, you're falling, that's getting back up. And it's just kind of, in society and culture, it's kind of frowned that you have to be, you cannot fall down. And that's just wrong, because you have to learn, and just like you were talking about walking. So talk about this, you've developed this success formula you've talked about, and it's impacted your roles as a business owner, father, success coach. Talk about that.
Yes. The formula is risk, fail, learn, repeat. And I'm going to go back to that same story. How did you learn to walk? You risk. I got up, I tried, I saw everybody else doing it. It seemed like it was in my DNA. I failed a lot. I didn't care about failing. It wasn't the villain. And then I learned. What did I learn? Okay, I need to balance. What did I learn? Okay, when I'm next to the corner of the table, I needed to hold on because that hurts when I hit my head. You learn and then you repeat. The learn is the platinum. And most of us, like you said, culture, religion, society, they're all like, when you fail, you're a failure. But that's not true. That is not a true statement. The truth is failing is part of the program, and no one ever got anywhere without failing. That's why it's part of the formula of success. Risk. What is something that we could risk today? What is something these physicians can risk? Could they raise their prices? Could they be more focused on one thing? Could they take Fridays off? What is their risk? Fail. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, that didn't learn. What did I learn from that? I learned that I can't take off Fridays, but I can take off Wednesdays because the golf course is open then. There's less people on it. And then repeat. Risk, fail, learn, repeat. That is the formula. It works in every industry, everything in the world. It works in your relationships. It works in meditation. I mean, spirit, soul, and body is how I coach my clients, and it works in all of those arenas.
Yeah, I love that. And then the other thing is, with this risk, fail, repeat, this learn, risk, fail, learn. So you talk about your experience as a Marine, and how do you translate discipline and values from that experience into actionable strategies for everyday life and business success?
I love this question, brother. This is a good one, man. In my book, I talk about this civil war that I had inside of me. I had the disciplined Marine and the free creative spirit, because I'm very creative. And as a physician, you need to be creative. You have to think. You can think inside the box, but who wants a doctor that thinks inside the box? Everybody wants a doctor that thinks outside of the box. That'll give me the my healing, my solution, right? So I have this self-disciplined Marine and this free spirit, and they were at this civil war inside of me. So I thought a to-do list was messed up, and I thought that in being creative, I had to be free in this free spirit, this wild horse in the open field. And one of my mentors was the most disciplined person I ever met, but he was also the most free, paying cash for his kids' college, taking his whole family on this brilliant cruise, like $25,000 a person. I mean, and what it dawned on me from hanging out with him was the most disciplined is the most free. And we can apply that in spirit, soul, and body. In spirit, the most disciplined. Who's meditating? Who's spending time in the spirit daily? They're the most free in their spirit. In soul is money and your relationships. In your relationships, if you're the most disciplined, you take care of your spouse, you spend time with your kids, you're the most free. In your body, the most disciplined is the most free. It applies everywhere in all realms of your life. And it sucks at first, because you're like, man, I'm a free spirit, I want to be creative. But think about as a physician, they have been so disciplined. You know what I mean? To succeed in this arena, you have been so disciplined. So you have the discipline down. Now we need to get you free. I listened to what you said in your podcast. You said, why are we here? And you said time freedom, location freedom, emotional freedom, and financial freedom. Those, you will be the most free in those when you're the most disciplined in those.
I love that. Discipline equals freedom. And most people will think, most people think discipline is like you're restrictive, but
it's a capture. Exactly. That's the thought. That's why we resist it. Just like we resist fail because we think it's the enemy, we resist discipline because we think it's the enemy, but it frees us. I mean, if you eat right and you work out, your body is more free than someone that doesn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of picking back off this idea of discipline is you talk about adaptability, and what does adaptability mean to you in the context of entrepreneurship, and how you can combine it with discipline to survive, thrive in your business, your relationships, etc.
Yes, and let's skip surviving. Everybody's doing that already. Let's go right to thriving. Let's get to thriving. And what it's going to take to thrive is that formula: risk, fail, learn, repeat. Now, the learn is the adaptability. And in the Marine Corps, they talk about adapt and overcome. That's kind of the principle. That's what they, when you land on the ground, all that training is great, but you're going to have to adapt to, bullets coming across. You're going to have to adapt to the terrain. You're going to have to adapt to the weather. So as a physician, whether you own the business or you're working in a business, you have to learn to adapt. And who's going to be able to adapt the most? The most disciplined. Imagine if you've been disciplined with your finances and your boss shows up and says, hey, this is how we're doing things. And you're like, that doesn't set well with me. You can say, thank you, but no, thank you. But if you haven't been disciplined, and what is the name of it? Financial freedom. That's the name of your podcast. If you haven't been disciplined, you will not be financially free. And then you'll be financially captured. You'll be financially enslaved, So that adapt and overcome is every day be creative and then stay disciplined, and then discipline in your creativity. And I'm not trying to be, I want to be very foundational. I want to be very fundamental. So let's take it down to, you're with a patient and you're taking care of them, and your inner voice, because you've been meditating, says something. Do you have the courage to adapt and overcome and give them advice? Do you have the courage and adapt to overcome in your body to start working out a different way, to cold plunge, whatever the next thing is that you're doing. Adapting and overcoming is from the most disciplined is the most free, because then you have the freedom to adapt because you've applied discipline to whatever it is you're going for.
Yeah, that's very powerful. And I know a lot of that'll resonate with a lot of the audience. You've been successful in various fields, and what common thread do you see in your approach to becoming a Marine, your author, your speaker, entrepreneur? What is the common thread there?
Well, and I also would like to say I've been an ultimate failure at all of those as well. So I want to make sure we're clear. Everybody likes to see the highlight reel, and social media gives us the highlight reel. Oh, look, Michael's there doing this, and they're a couple and they're happy and they're family and they're at Disney World and they're driving that car and they have all the patience. But don't forget, that's a highlight reel. So the real world, everybody's in the real world. Everybody's having fights. Everybody wakes up and their breath stinks. Everybody's in the real world, So your question is, what is my common theme? And I would say my common theme is failure is not the enemy. Failure is the teacher. When I stopped pulling my sword and my shield and fighting failure, I'm not going to fail. And I started setting at the feet of fail and saying, what is my lesson? I can go back to risk, fail, my teacher, learn, what did I learn, and then repeat. And the repeat comes from the discipline, because it's hard. It's hard to fail a lot, man. It sucks, Not making payroll, that's brutal. All these people gave their time, and then I can't make payroll. Oh, that'll give you a heartache. It's brutal. Mm-hmm. But what did I learn? Okay, I need to have some deep backup here, because the government's not going to pay me in 30 days, So that's the failing and then learning and then repeating is vital to my success and my ultimate failures. So I would say that's everything.
Yeah. Talk about how you approach goal setting, both in personal life and business, and kind of share a technique that listeners might apply to set and achieve their own goals.
Yes. Goal setting is huge. The difference between a dream and a goal is a time frame. I have a dream, I want to live on the beach. Great. When do you want to do that? Where do you want to live? Let's get some details and get this down to a goal. And setting goals is vital. And a lot of times why we stop setting goals, Christopher? Because we let fail be the villain. But when fail becomes the teacher, then I can be like, okay, what is my learn? And I can reset a new goal, and I think the goals need to be in the three levels that I help my clients is spirit. That's meditation. That's with your higher power. Soul is your relationships and your finances, your business. And then body. In body, I talk about hydration, flexibility, movement, fuel, sleep. These are the 5 areas. So I help my clients set goals in these 3 areas on a weekly basis. And a lot of times they have never meditated. And they're like, good luck, buddy. I can't sit still for 20 seconds. And I'm like, let's try 20 seconds. And I help them evolve to 10 minutes, 40 minutes, And the beautiful thing is no one's ever come out of a meditation and not had an answer that they were looking for. So setting goals, reaching goals, and failing at goals, these are the principles that you need to apply no matter who you are, And without a goal, you're just kind of wandering. And that's where the discipline, you're not free if you don't have a goal, because the most disciplined is the most free. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
Yeah. It reminds me of this quote, clarity and focus. And the more clear you are in focus and the more energy you direct towards that focus, the more energy and the more it manifests. And that's how you cultivate this law of attraction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I tell my clients in the Marine Corps, they said, if you don't mind, it don't matter. And I've evolved that to what you mind matters. What you give your mind to materializes. I wanted to be on a podcast. I minded that. I started spending time on that. And now it materialized. And here I am with you, this beautiful physician, and I'm on a podcast with you. So what you mind matters. So pay attention to what you mind. Pay attention to what you're spending your thinking on.
Yeah, very powerful. You wrote a book which the link will be in the show notes, and Go for the Big. And you discuss key concepts for achieving success and kind of talk about the book, like the core tenets, and also surprising, feedback from readers and all of that.
Yes, yes. I feel like the book has really taken it's a life of its own, because the things that we've talked about, the risk, fail, learn, repeats in there. Am I enough? I am enough is in there. The most disciplined is the most free is in there. The one thing we haven't talked about that's in there that really is powerful is there is no perfect. And I talk about there's no perfect relationship. There's no perfect time to start a business. There's no perfect time to get a divorce. There's no perfect children. Oh my God, what? There's no perfect children. What about this baby I just had? Trust me, in a couple of years, you'll realize there's no perfect children. So if you can get the concept of there is no perfect, then it gives you permission to go ahead and go for it. Like you were said, set a goal. Well, it's not the perfect time. Let's set a goal and let's go for it, And another thing I talk about in there is failure is your friend, which we've already covered here. Failure is your teacher and your friend. And the last thing I talk about in there that's really powerful is your pain story. All of us have a pain story, and we keep telling it. Mm-hmm. Your pain, this is gonna rattle some cages, but I'm saying anyway. Your pain does not make you special. Mm-hmm. What makes you special is how you come out of that pain. Mm-hmm. And all of us can attribute to that, because we're all sitting here hearing this. So we made it through our pain. So the beautiful thing is to take your pain story and spin it into a success story where you're the hero, and then start telling that story. Because I always tell my clients, the story you're telling is the story you're living. So if you always say, oh man, my mom's a physician, my dad's a physician, so I have to be a physician, and I have to be in the practice, and I have to do it with insurance. That's the story you're telling. I'm offering you could be a physician in a whole nother way, that's out of your spirit, from your meditation. You spend time in the spirit, in the space, and the answers will come to be in a whole evolution of a new kind of physician.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I love that. The pain. And then, because one thing was, I had another guest talk about forgiveness, and basically everybody has a pain, and
yes.
And, so then people create stories around these pain
yes.
triggers. But then what you're describing is more empowering, and kind of this hero's journey where you use that pain to achieve greater heights and, greater success.
Yes. Yeah. And more suck is coming. Here's the good news. All of us, more suck is coming, man. But here's the good news. All of those sucks before were workouts for the suck that's coming. So we're just building muscles so that we can endure. I want to make sure I get in here is everything I teach is foundation on gratitude. Gratitude is the foundation for all success in anything you want to achieve. And I teach my clients, I talk about this in the book, do two gratefuls every hour out loud. And the way it sounds is, I'm grateful for Christopher that he allowed me on his podcast, and I am enough. You do two of those out loud every hour, and it will change your set of mind. It will change the way you're thinking, because grateful, actually they've done a study, and when you say it grateful, you're empowering the solution part of your brain. And when you complain, you're actually handicapping the part of your brain that comes up with solutions. So imagine you have a problem, you're complaining about it, and so now your solution power is going down because you're complaining. So what if when you drop the weight on your foot, you go, man, I'm grateful I had shoes on. Man, I'm grateful that it didn't break my toe. There's a way to be grateful in everything, but you have to build your gratitude muscle so that when the suck comes, you can still exercise your gratitude muscle, because it's easy to get into the complaint. It's easy.
Yeah, I love that. It's like a muscle, and then when that comes, it forces you to start looking at other things. At least this didn't happen, or at least this could have happened.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes, and that would go back to the most disciplined. Start your grateful exercises now is the most free. When the suck comes, now I can be grateful even in the suck. Someone that I love and adore, my grandma, 92, she passed away. I can feel bad about that, and you have permission to feel bad as long as you want. I want everybody to know you have permission to feel bad as long as you want, but know that you're in charge of it. So if I want to feel bad for 2 weeks, 2 years, 20 years, it's okay. But also Be grateful. I was grateful for my grandma. I had her my whole life. I was her firstborn son. She took me when my parents couldn't. She raised me. She took me to the pool. I can go all down this whole road of gratitude, even in that sorrow. And I promise you, no matter what's happening, imagine if a physician was like, okay, we're going to start this appointment with 2 gratitudes. Imagine if every appointment started with 2 gratefuls. Woo! That's a whole nother level.
Yeah. And so kind of rounding out the discussion is you talk about this, share an example of a setback you've experienced, the steps you took to turn it into a growth opportunity, and finally, final parting words, how they can find you, very motivating, and check out your social media, etc.
Yes. Well, I've got a great one, and it's going to be very applicable to this audience. Is on July 7th, I've been having chest pains for about 7 days, and I was trying to get it off of me. I tried running, I tried exercising, I tried drinking lots of olive oil. I was trying all the things I thought. I meditated, and finally my inner voice is like, go and give science a shot at this, Michael. And so I go to the emergency room. They rush me in. They open me up. They do double bypass, and they close me up, and they send me home. Now, this was a shocker because I was working out. I was eating right. I was doing everything I knew to do, and this still showed up in my life. So this is a huge setback. And then they're like, 100% of the people get depressed after they have open heart surgery. I'm like, not me, man. I'm awesome. I got this down. I'm a motivational speaker. I got this. It crushed me, man. It defeated me. I was in the fetal position in a dark room going, what happened here? I was walking and still feeling bad. I mean, but here's the thing. I've had an evolution that, and this is out of the Marine Corps, really got this, was that I'm not going to feel bad for feeling bad. Because now I have 2 levels I have to get up to get to 0. So like I was saying before, when the suck happens, open heart surgery, depression, I just was like, okay, I'm feeling bad, and I'm going to allow myself to feel bad. And I would say that is a huge evolution that everyone could get. What if yes, you're the hero. Yes, you're amazing. Yes, you're brilliant. Look at you. You're a physician. Congratulations. You achieved what most people will never achieve. But it's okay for you to feel bad once in a while. And if you gave yourself that permission, you wouldn't have so far to get when you're getting back to your normal self. The way to reach me, man, I'm all over the place. I'm on Instagram, on Go for the Big. I'm on Facebook, on Risk Takers and Michael Botts. You can go to my website, Michael Botts, BOTTS experience, the michaelbottsexperience.com. And I mean, I'll give my phone number. I don't care. I'm wide open, man. I'm an open book, and I'm just here to serve people that want to have an evolution in their lives.
Yeah. And what I really enjoyed this conversation, very motivating, very empowering, and all of Michael's resources will be in the links and show notes. Be sure to follow him on all his socials and check out his book as well. It's on Amazon. I'm going to check it out as well. Leave a 5-star rating and review. And
yes, please. That's awesome.
And thanks so much for coming on to the podcast.
Hey, Christopher, I just want to say I'm proud of you, man. What you're doing here is huge, because I know physicians have a lot of struggle. They have a lot of pressure on them. And this is a place they can come once in a while and relieve that pressure and maybe give themselves some hope of having that freedom, time freedom, location freedom, emotional freedom, and financial freedom. I'm really proud of you, buddy. Keep going.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.